And we're up.
Wait for it. You're live. Here we go.
All right.
Hello. Oh, wait, we need to play the tune.
2NJB into his house. Play the tune.
Exclusively on YouTube.
Exclusively. Just for you YouTubers.
And here's the opening tune coming right up. We have a viewer. It's you, though.
We got two.
Oh.
It's you and me.
No, maybe you and my mom. But check the sound.
I think it sounds good. It sounds good. Guys,
Delay. The delay. If
you
there's no
gotta
delay.
bear with us. Yeah, it sounds
Yeah, it's
good.
good.
It sounds good.
Oh,
you gotta bear with us. So
cool.
we're doing this for the first time.
No.
No, first time on YouTube.
No,
Live.
I don't think so.
I think it's the first time we're live on YouTube.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't think so. Maybe not.
We've been live on Facebook. Come on, man. Let's make it like a first
yeah,
time
it's the
thing.
first
It'll be more
time.
exciting.
Yes.
Right? First time 2NJB
Live
on YouTube.
Violating all quarantine laws.
No, I live here. I live downstairs.
Yeah, you moved in.
I'm within
You're on the couch
500
now.
meters, yes.
Yeah.
So the people at the Central Committee of Distancing can rest assured that all
The Ministry of
actions
Distance.
taking place tonight are according to the book.
Regulations, protocol.
All. Yes, we have our permits on us.
Actually-
our past curfew permits.
No, but radios operate, right? TV news.
Because it's
vital.
Vital, yes.
It's
It's
under the
imperative
vital.
that we get our news.
Yeah.
Yeah, our shitty news. Anyway,
So-
but on a better note,
Yeah.
celebrating.
You moving out?
No, celebrating. Most importantly,
What?
500,000 downloads.
Oh, right. Yeah.
500,000 downloads,
Yeah,
people.
not including YouTube watches.
Not including. So it's like at least 500,020.
Yeah.
500,020 downloads.
Wait. 21.
Woo! Guys, thank you so much for
Yeah.
bearing with our shenanigans for so long.
500,000 downloads.
Yeah.
That's quite a number.
It's
Very
a-
impressive.
It is a number.
Like
that
80,
is for sure.
I would say 75% are coming because of me, but your 25% is very
Hey,
impressive.
man, my 25% is holding down
it's
the fort.
it's the root.
It's the meat.
It's the meat, yeah.
But yeah, 500,000. Pretty amazing.
Okay. Talking point.
All right, cool.
Moving
Done
on.
with that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So elections are coming up in
Yeah,
America.
they are.
You have a right to vote, right?
Yeah, but we always talk about this. I think we've talked about this. I don't have a.
Always. Once.
I don't
What?
have in 2016. Yeah, it shows how long we've been around.
We talked about it once 4 years ago.
No, I think we talked about it in between. But basically, there's no point in me voting. I think I'm not exactly sure when they count the
Which
absentee
state?
ballots. Alabama. I think is the last place of residence. Maybe Atlanta. But either way, both of them pretty much go red. So
No point.
yeah,
But if
I would vote red anyway.
You'd vote
they're not,
Trump.
Neither of them are really a swing state.
No, but if
so-
you lived in Florida,
yeah.
if you had the Florida,
But then again, the
wait,
issue,
you'd
yeah,
vote Trump.
I'd vote Trump. Yeah, absolutely.
Tom.
Oh, come on, it's not a big surprise. Who would you vote for
Well,
if you could vote?
I'd vote for Trump.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no other option.
No, not really.
He's kind of an asshole, and you know,
yeah.
and he's
But he's our
like unpalatable.
He's an asshole,
He's
but
out-
it's our asshole.
exactly. He's my asshole.
Oh,
God.
No, but yeah, because look, we gotta think about our interests here. It's a very cold-blooded, calculated move.
Yeah.
As Israelis, we have an interest for him to be elected president.
That's what's great about Western civilization, right? Is we get to make disinterested decisions. You don't have to think about religion or ideology, or you just what's good for me.
Yeah.
All self-interest.
Yeah.
We're so
All me.
selfish. Yeah.
Me.
But but I think it's a no-brainer. The debate, wow. It was impossible to watch. It was just like it was a hurricane. They were both just nonstop talking. You couldn't make any sense of anything, in my opinion. I think Trump made a mistake that he talked way too much. He like drowned out his own moments. You know what I mean? It's like he shot
Should have
himself in the
let
foot.
Biden just talk his nonsense.
He
and
should have, yeah.
embarrass himself.
There were moments where there was silence that he could have let the silence carry on, and it would have made more of a statement. You know, when he like pressed him on certain matters. You know, why aren't you gonna talk about whether you're gonna stack the courts? That was one of the questions, the Supreme Court, and Biden didn't have an answer. It's just I'm not gonna talk about. It's like, well, let him, stumble over his own words. One, there were moments of silence, and two, there's that Biden thing where he
Mumbled.
just starts talking nonsense. You
Yeah.
can't make any right.
Yeah.
Like a hundred years were lost this year or something. He said. It's like what? But you didn't notice it because Trump was just like nonstop.
Yeah.
It was like a rapid fire machine gun.
Yeah.
I hope.
Are you for the new regulations they want to put in the debate, like where they're want to shut down microphones or stuff like that?
Oh yeah, I sent you that picture, right? Where it would have been there's this picture from like I don't know, I think it might be like a 90s 50s debate or something, but they both candidates are in these soundproof boxes.
Yeah.
I think it would be beneficial, but it seems to me just kind of like what have we come to if we have to do that, right?
Yeah.
It's just yeah, I don't know. The moderation was also kind of shoddy. But anyway, I hope there's another debate. I hope there's another one.
Looks like there's gonna be.
Yeah, although they say that the influence of debates isn't that big.
Yeah.
Like the people going in that like Trump. The
Yeah.
people that go in like
Who's gonna win though?
It's not
Hard to tell. Like I sent you the Nate Silver
Yeah.
poll on
Like,
his website. Like
fucking learn their
5% Trump wins.
Yeah.
120% Biden wins. And like someone tweeted it.
Well,
And
polls say Biden has won the election.
Yeah. Like
It's like what?
all the polls, like you have two kinds of polls, right? You have the polls of the popular vote, which we already understood that it's meaningless because Trump lost 3 million, so he might as well lose the popular vote in 5 or 6 or 7 million
Yeah.
because of the electoral system. And the others are, they show various polls. I just saw a poll that gives him a tie in Florida, for example.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one it is, but
It all comes down to like 5 states, and nobody really knows what's going to happen.
so there's this historian I like to tune into, Victor Davis Hansen, and he actually talks about the fact that if you look at the polls take the polls that were more or less accurate in 2016 and look at those, like Rasmussen apparently was pretty accurate in 2016.
Okay.
And when you look at those, then Trump is either equal to Biden or within the margin of error,
Right.
like 3% or whatever.
And I just heard an interesting statistic that 30% of Democrats are intending to go out and actually vote at the ballots instead of the alternatives, whereas 55% of Republicans are eager to go out and actually vote, which is important because who knows what's going to happen with the non-direct voting techniques, right? Who knows what's going to end up with those? So
Which is, like,
enthusiasm
huge
to actually
controversy.
go out and vote is very important. And that's where I think in the end of the day, many people might think that Biden is winning for sure because of all the polls and what the media says.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll stay at home. They say to themselves, why should I risk dying from COVID when I know it's a done deal?
Yeah.
And maybe that will...
I think also the problem is that a lot of the polls look at like the national level, and nationally, some of these polls were accurate for Hillary. I mean, she won the popular vote by like 3% or whatever. But that's not relevant.
If the Democrats had
That doesn't make a difference for America. It's the electorate vote. You need to look at the states.
Yeah. If the Democrats had a more normal candidate, though, would you even consider like Bloomberg or I don't know,
No.
someone?
No, because I think the Democrats have, I'm sorry to say, but I think the party has sold out. Trump has a point when he pressed him also in the debate. Like, oh, well, there you go. You've lost all the AOC voters and the Bernie Sanders vote. I mean, Bernie Sanders co-wrote the platform with, I don't know who else. I think it was maybe Elizabeth Warren or whatever. But he co-wrote the platform that Biden is running on. So Biden's kind of sold out, I think, to these like extreme left politicians and groups. He refuses to condemn Antifa and BLM and these
Trump
riots
with the
and the
racists.
violence. Trump, if you listen to him, if you read the transcripts, like he's not refusing to condemn. Like they asked him in the debate, "Will you condemn white supremacists?" And then the headlines the next day were Trump refuses to condemn. His answer to "Would you condemn white supremacists?" was sure.
Yeah, he never.
like,
but he never did do it. Although,
No, but that is doing it.
no.
What do you?
No.
What?
No.
How is that?
No.
But
No.
hold on.
Wait.
No.
But
if
before-
you refuse to condemn white, so this is a
Yeah,
basic
there's a
linguistics.
middle ground there.
No,
He
it's a
didn't
basic,
refuse, but he never condemned. Also,
That
he just
no, okay.
didn't.
He asked
he did
you.
neither.
You ask someone, "Will you condemn?" And you say yes. That means I condemn. It's a link. It's a. When I say yes to something, it means I do that. Thing.
No, but there's a difference between
because he
do
didn't
you-
finish the sentence.
There are two different questions. Do you condemn and will you condemn? Right? Those are two different questions. If I ask you, do you condemn, and you say yes.
No, and that's just semantics.
No, it's not semantics.
Yeah, it
it's
is.
And if you say will you condemn, you say
Yeah,
yes, I
what
will.
they got caught on was him saying Proud Boys stand down and stand
right.
by,
Yeah.
right?
But he did condemn. I saw a debate or a conference he had done 4 years ago where he did specifically condemn that. So
after the Charlottesville
I don't know, probably
riots. Yeah,
So
he said, I condemn white supremacists.
Exactly.
And
So
he made the mistake of equating the people on both sides, claiming there were certain people there that were just protesting the taking down of civil rights statues, which I'm not sure how accurate that is.
Mm-hmm.
But he, in that same context, said, I condemn white supremacy. White supremacy should be rooted out. It's an evil.
yeah. But show me one time where Trump in 4 years actually did an action which is racist or, or or gave money or support to a racist. Show me that, and then we'll talk, right?
Yeah.
You can't.
He didn't like write.
And he wouldn't because his family is Jewish.
He didn't send a mean text to David Duke, so he's a racist.
Don't get the reference.
David Duke was like the Grand Wizard or whatever.
Oh,
the
yeah.
KKK, and,
Okay.
like, he refused to condemn David Duke. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Which leads me to this, we're now, we didn't mention it, but we are now, the ramen is on its way.
Oh, yes.
And we got instructions.
Guys, the second the ramen comes, this episode is over. So depending on whether you like us or not, pray for
There are
ramen.
instructions. Noodles. They're fresh, and they might become a goosh, one piece.
They might become, they might like stick together.
Yeah. If that
Coagulate.
happens, put some water on them. The soup, if it's not hot enough, you can microwave it.
Okay.
And that's
Okay,
That's
I
the
don't think we
instruction.
need to read
Okay.
that. Actually,
I
can
thought it's
Can you
fascinating.
read me more? Because I'm starving.
No, but back to Trump. On the Forward, we're now sponsored by the Forward, so check
Yes.
them out. Go to forward.com/2njb.
Yes. Let's talk about
yeah.
the Forward a bit. The Forward, you go to forward.com/2njb and you get an exclusive offer. Guys, really check out forward.com. It's a great source to read news, opinion, commentary, all through a Jewish lens. Forward.com/2njb, and you get an exclusive offer.
But it doesn't mean we have to agree with everything.
Absolutely not. But it's important to read all sides.
Yeah. So on an article by Steve North from September 30th, and it's titled 100-year-old Holocaust survivor compares Trump to Hitler.
Yeah.
And that's from the forward, of course. And then you sent a bunch of boring stuff, so I lost every. Oh, the woman who that's from the article. The woman who was forced to listen daily to Adolf Hitler's lunatic rants on the radio for 7 years in the 1930s was blunt, and that's the quote. When I hear Trump speak, I hear Hitler. When I see his rallies, it's like what I saw in Nazi Germany.
I don't get it.
We talked about it in the past, and that I think that begs the question: can a Holocaust survivor be a Holocaust denier?
Ugh,
Yeah, that's dark.
that's going far.
That's dark.
I wouldn't call
because
her a Holocaust denier.
I tell you, in the past, I said that
making those comparisons.
making those comparisons
Yeah.
it's Holocaust denial, in my opinion, generally speaking, because
to a degree, yeah.
because Trump isn't Hitler. He isn't Hitler.
Yeah.
No, he didn't murder. We talked about it in the past. He didn't murder millions of people. He didn't legislate racist
he didn't
laws.
usurp power
By
by killing off his political opponents. He was
Yeah.
elected democratically.
yeah. So when you compare them and you say Trump is Hitler,
You
you're
reduce-
undermining
yeah.
Hitler, and that's what's called a soft Holocaust denial, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
It is. It is.
And-
I'm absolutely, I agree with that. I at the beginning said I wouldn't go that far, but you're right. You are right. It is really, it's to draw such parallels. That's the thing. I guess I'm uncomfortable calling it Holocaust denial because she obviously is not deny. Holocaust denial is reserved for a group of people who deny that the Holocaust was a historical event that even took place. They deny the magnitude of it.
The
They deny-
magnitude,
yeah,
yeah.
they deny the magnitude. So what I'm saying is, I don't think she's denying, but she's minimizing.
Yeah.
And I think that she's making false parallels and she's putting out falsehoods.
But they call Holocaust deniers to
But-
people who say only 2 million Jews died.
Yeah,
in the
but that's what I'm
Holocaust.
saying. She's
That's
not
also,
saying that.
Yes, but that's also minimization, right?
So that's what I'm saying. It's much
So-
lighter. I
It
wouldn't
is.
call it Holocaust denial. I would put it in a new category, calling it, I don't know, false parallels of the Holocaust,
Okay.
minimization of the Holocaust, right?
Okay.
Minimization of the evil of Hitler, right?
Yeah.
That's what you have. That's what you end up doing when you compare, democratically elected presidents of a free country.
To dictator.
Hitler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who murdered.
So yeah, and I also don't understand. I don't understand why someone. This is like indicative of the left's world outlook, right? Is that like you've experienced something, so you can speak on some authority on that thing, right? Like I can't understand the plights of a black man, and I don't understand I don't understand the existence of a black man. He has this unique perspective on the world because of his blackness. And the same goes for like a Holocaust survivor, right?
Yeah.
She's all of a sudden endowed with this, understanding of the world that I will never have. And to a certain degree, personally, it's true.
She has an understanding of the
traumatized.
Holocaust.
No,
'cause
she has.
experienced
Yeah,
it.
she has an understanding of the personal experience
Yes.
of going through the Holocaust.
Yes.
but that doesn't endow her with some intellectual superiority. That doesn't endow her with some superior intelligence. It doesn't make her any authority to speak on, if Trump is Hitler,
If she were a
which is
historian,
just ridiculous.
a professor of history in Harvard, that would be a different. Of course she has the right for this opinion.
Yeah.
She does.
No, but it's
but
to,
when
it's to conflate, like it's to try and play an emotional trick on you. This person survived the Holocaust. What, you can't, you're not going to listen to what they say?
yeah, I'm gonna listen. But when you put yourself out there, like when she's a grown-up lady and hopefully she knows what she's doing, and when she puts herself out there, and so you have to have the right to debate and also to counter her arguments.
But that's what I'm saying. I think it's it's intellectually lazy to even put something like that out, because it's to say that because she survived the Holocaust, she has no, let's talk about the rationality of her point of view. Let's discuss whether or not she's saying is something smart, intelligent, makes sense, promotes good values, good ideas. Otherwise, what does it matter what she went through?
Anyway,
Ay, ay, ay.
and one last thing. Michael Moore tweeted about Trump.
Trump is just like he's the never ending well. He
There
just
you go.
keeps giving.
Read it.
So someone Drew in the North tweeted thoughts and prayers that the coronavirus makes a speedy recovery, which is pretty funny. But Michael Moore, but it's also kind of vicious. Michael Moore retweeted
Director of the Bowling Green
Yeah.
Columbine and
Bowling Columbine and a bunch
Fahrenheit
of other
11/9.
shitty movies. That poor virus got sucked into his body and is now trapped there. How can it escape? He wants to use it as a prop. See this China flu? I beat it. Just like I'll beat Biden. They're both a hoax. My thoughts and prayers, too, are with COVID-19.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
Yep.
What
Okay.
a dum-dum.
Moving on. Back to Israel. It's been pretty hectic here.
Yeah.
Guys, we're on lockdown
Yeah.
for weeks. And there's no end in sight.
I was just reading the law the other day, and it's like if they have the...
Every 7 days, they need to reaffirm the...
Yeah, but they can do it
quarantine.
up to 45 days, and then they can extend it by no more than 60 days, the corona law itself, like the state of emergency.
Yeah, yeah.
And then within the state of emergency, they can extend the...
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
just ridiculous. So I have like made up my mind that I'm not going to be voting for Benjamin Netanyahu next election because it's like, to me, he's just, this is the problem, is that most people think that the fact that most people count the dead, and the lower the death count, the more successful the treatment of COVID was.
Here in Israel? You're
Around the
talking?
world, like, oh, look at this
Here
country,
they're
they have
they're
hardly
counting-
any deaths.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this country, they have 200,000 deaths. The United States. The United States has failed. To a certain degree, and I know this is going to be controversial, but to a certain degree, I think that the 200,000 deaths are to the U.S.'s credit. It's obviously each death is a tragedy, and death is always a tragedy, but especially when it happens to innocent people who get a disease, it's a tragedy. But the 200,000 deaths in the United States, to me, symbolize the fact that freedom is of the utmost importance.
But you're a bit ideologically elastic, I feel.
Why?
One of the previous, I think, recaps, I wish I had it. I didn't prepare the quote, but you said something like, when we talked about the situation in Israel, you said, but the deaths here are very low. I told you the sick is very high. Yes. And you said, yes, but I really care about the death numbers.
Yeah,
So
because
you
I
also
care. I care about the death. Meaning,
No, but you
if the
cared
death-
about the numbers. You cared about the numbers that were low at the time.
Yeah, but my care is just whether or not it's a serious misfortune that is occurring. That doesn't influence whether or not I think the government should do anything about it. Meaning,
But-
I think that, yes, if there are high death numbers, it's a tragedy. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the government has failed. And I don't look to the government to take care of COVID.
But let me ask you this. We argued about it also on WhatsApp, and we'll get to there. But how can you explain that if you look at the modern countries, okay, the OECD countries, out of those countries, 95% of the countries took measures to reduce the illness by quarantining or restrictions. So you, Eitan Weinstein,
Yeah.
from Haifa, born in Haifa,
I wasn't born in Haifa.
born in
New Jersey.
New Jersey, Haifa, New Jersey.
Haifa's sister city.
Um,
Inglewood.
Spent 2 years in Haifa as a child,
1 year.
1 year, and then moved back,
Yes.
and eventually ended up in Florentine.
Have we met?
And
Yes. Okay.
you're walking by the smell of piss
me,
every day in the
Eitan
streets.
Weinstein, a big nobody.
You
Yes.
know better than all the European countries
Yes.
and all the Western
Yeah.
civilization.
Oh, the
You-
European, definitely.
You,
Definitely know better than Europeans.
You
Those
know
guys know
better than
nothing.
Boris
Have you-
Johnson.
No, Boris
And
Johnson initially had
Yes.
had a plan. He was
Yes,
a
but
man with
then-
a plan.
But then he
But
changed
then
his
he
mind
got
because
he got
saw that
scared.
people died.
No, because he got scared because
Realized-
politicians only give a shit about getting reelected. So,
No.
so the second they sense danger to their reelection efforts, they're of course going to be
But
influenced
they
by
get the
that.
mandate from the people. So if Bibi does the lockdown, that's his mandate. That's why people chose him.
No, but there are
Elected
certain
him.
unalienable rights, which is my opinion. First of all, if we look at Europe, Sweden, for example, didn't do a lockdown. Under 6,000 dead, like
They did do
5,800.
some restrictions.
No, they did
They
basically
restricted
like
big events.
like rough guidelines, big events, sababa, rough guidelines.
Yeah,
And
But
they
don't
got it.
have,
They don't have
ultra-Orthodox
they don't
population.
they don't have a death in Sweden already. I don't know how long.
They don't have the ultra-Orthodox population.
Doesn't
Here in
matter.
Israel, just
doesn't matter. Point is,
no.
hold on, let me answer. The point is that there are certain unalienable rights. There are certain rights that you cannot restrict, and one of them is the pursuit of happiness and liberty, basically. So
And the other is the right for living.
life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But your life is not. I mean, that is not. It's COVID. I mean, you could have the same argument about the flu, and I know the flu is not COVID, but thousands of people die of the flu
But it never
every
collapsed.
year. Actually,
Hospitals.
hundreds of thousands of people
Hospitals
die
didn't
around the
collapse
world.
from the flu.
Doesn't matter. Hundreds
It
of thousands of
does.
people die of the flu every year. So
In
where are
the
you
world.
drawing your line?
In the world.
Yeah. So
Okay.
where are you drawing your line?
Well, apparently
come up
you
with an
draw it here.
arbitrary
You
line.
draw it when hospitals tell you we are about to collapse.
Okay, about to. Hospitals haven't collapsed yet.
Yes, but
And-
if they did,
If they did, then they collapse. Sometimes hospitals collapse. I don't understand. Like, it's like
but they. What do you mean? Sometimes they collapse? No, they don't. Usually they don't collapse. Here in Israel,
no.
they
Sometimes
never
they do.
collapse.
Sometimes
even in wars.
Sometimes the capacity of hospitals, the capacity of civilization for certain ailments and injuries is exceeded, and there's lots of death. That happens throughout history. I don't understand how it's different than a war. Like, if a war is too costly in life, then what? We should just stop it?
No, but you go and fight in the war, right?
Yeah.
You go and fight in the war,
So I'm-
and
but I'm
you
s-
might shut down businesses and civilians, like in the.
I'm saying in World War II,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know. In the Battle of Midway, 2000, not 2000.
Oh, here's the ramen.
The ramen. I'm just going to keep making my point, even though you're not listening. No, we'll wait. I don't know how long I'll be able to hold on, though, without getting my ramen while my ramen sits here. But basically, you're listening. My point is that in certain battles in the Second World War, for example, right? Yeah. Okay, we're gonna wait a bit. I need my ramen. Anyway, so, huh? No, but you're not here. I'm gonna wait for you to come back, and then I'll make my point. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. First of all, we got a lot of good episodes. I'm gonna fill you in, guys, with some of the content that we have coming your way. First of all, an episode with Idan Reichel just came out, so you got to check that out. We recorded an episode with Aki Avni, who is a really prominent Israeli actor.
Yes.
It's coming
Okay.
out soon, also. So stay tuned for that. We have a bunch of good content coming your way.
World War II.
So what I'm saying is that basically in certain battles in World War II, thousands of Americans died, sometimes tens of thousands. And I don't, so we could have said, okay, look at all these deaths. Let's pull out. Let's stop. Like, how is it a justification that there's too many people dying, or, this is the hospitals are
But
going to
wait,
collapse.
let's-
We shut down. No, I don't understand how that's a justification to shut down civilization.
But if there's a war,
Yeah.
right? Let's stay with your example. You shut down civilization to fight a war sometimes. You draft people. You draft people against their will.
Yeah.
What happened? Like all the hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of young people in America who got recruited, drafted in the '60s to go to Vietnam against their will.
Yeah,
You
but there
heard
were a lot
their
of
freedoms.
there
You
were a
heard
lot
their
of
freedoms.
there were a lot of draft dodgers, and most of the people who went willingly. Meaning,
And in
you
Europe in
don't have
World War
many
II and
people.
in World War II, no, they didn't go
No,
willingly.
they mostly did. They got a draft. They went. They
No,
could have
and
gone
here in
to.
Israel, in Yom Kippur War, in
Yeah,
First Lebanon War, no, people are forced to draft. So what's
I don't think so. I think people get a draft and they go from responsibility. They go from
okay?
a sense of
So
responsibility.
so here most
you
people.
can not, you can refuse to go.
So
They're not going
here-
to drag you out to
okay.
the front line. They're going to take you to jail.
Yeah, here you can refuse to stay quarantined, but
They're going to drag you to jail.
here
Yeah.
no,
Or they're gonna fine you.
maybe. But the point is, yeah, you have examples where similar measures, but you like you should come and say it's not like a war. It's not like World War II. It's
I
know?
don't think it is like a war because there's not an enemy that's a person that's actually attacking us. It's a disease. I just don't see the justification.
what I agree is that once you see, because they tried to prevent demonstrations and they failed, like you had huge protests against regulations here in Tel Aviv and everywhere, and they broke all the rules, the demonstrators. And the ultra-Orthodox held tremendous events during Yom Kippur and Sukkot, and I just read statistics that I don't know how many thousands of people got sick because of Yom Kippur prayers in synagogues, and the ultra orthodox they say like we are not interested
In lockdown.
In lockdown, we are for herd immunity. That's what they say.
Yeah.
But then when we argued on WhatsApp, I told you, but what if hospitals actually collapse?
Yeah.
And because that's the main argument, right? I think we can agree that if Bibi knew that,
Shows the weakness of the argument.
but if
It does. If you fall back on that, which is like an edge case, which might happen, might not happen, and it's about the capacity of a certain system to deal with the problem. Like,
if I told
and
you
for
in
that reason,
certainty-
you're holding people's liberties hostage.
I agree that ideally, like I'd rather they invested all those funds in enlarging the healthcare system. Of course, I'm for privatization after this whole
Fiasco.
debacle because I see how the ultra orthodox they are like 15% of the population, and they are like more than 30% of the sick. And we finance the entire health system, and we are paying for their medical bills essentially.
Yeah. So there's no incentive.
So
for them
there's no
to care.
incentive, for them to care. So I'm all for privatization especially after what's
If you're working all day to earn and put money and put food on the table,
and buy
and-
your insurance.
and no, but forget that. If you're working all day to pay for, and you know, that's what I mean, and you know if you get sick, it's going to cost you.
Yeah. Then
then
you're incentivized to
likely to stay at home
Yeah.
or to be careful, very
Yeah.
careful. But that's exactly my point, is that you're in favor of privatizing the healthcare system.
I am.
But basically what you're
But-
saying is that let's
as
correct
long-
one injustice with another
No,
injustice.
because I'm saying as long as it's not privatized, I'm living in
Yeah,
reality.
So let's correct one injustice with another injustice
Well, what's the alternative? What's
to
the
fight
alternative?
injustice with justice.
Meaning privatizing.
Meaning, do what's right at any given moment. Stop trying
but
to. Like,
I can't do anything right now. I can't. I can.
You
I
can be in favor of something. I'm not saying
Yeah.
do anything.
I'm
but
in
I'm saying-
favor of privatization.
No, but you should
right
be. I'm saying you
now-
shouldn't be in favor of lockdowns either, because it's an injustice that's coming to cure another injustice.
I never said I'm in favor for lockdowns. What I was going to say is that after I saw that the ultra-Orthodox are not respecting the lockdown, and also the demonstrators, the protesters, so it's futile that all the rest of us are sitting at home where
No,
certain parts of populations don't give a damn.
It's futile unless you enforce it. And that's what the problem is, right? Is like if you start enforcing it. And so the good citizens of the world listen to what the government says. But the other people don't. Unless you enforce, you cannot, like, that's just the way of the world. You can't put down law without enforcement,
Yeah.
especially if it goes beyond uh uh like human nature, right? So you don't necessarily even have to put down a law for do not murder. People will most likely not murder, right? Because it's part of us, right? We have developed as a society where that's not just law, but that's kind of the social contract. We don't murder each other.
Yeah.
But you can't put down a law that's beyond that and then not enforce it and expect people to. So either you drag people out of the street that are breaking lockdown and take them to jail, and then that's a really scary scenario, in my
They
opinion.
have been doing it.
Yeah, you
but-
see certain videos, but
Yeah.
it's like,
But yeah, it's only
very loose.
symbolic. It's symbolic, and in the end of the day, they realized they cannot enforce it on the demonstrators and the ultra orthodox. They just can't. So now we're like in this gray area. I haven't seen my parents for a few weeks, but
So that's what I want people to imagine. Is like, imagine someone walking down from their house, going to the supermarket or going to IKEA to buy some furniture. They're a young couple. They're 25 years old, 30 years old. They're going to IKEA to buy a new sofa because they moved into a new apartment, right? Imagine that couple getting stopped by the cops and dragged off to jail. Okay? That's because in order to make sense of it, in my opinion, you have to be comfortable with that. Because if it's a law, then it needs to be enforced.
Yeah.
So what are you going to say? But the whole idea of them breaking quarantine is that they're risking the public health. They're risking people's lives. So what? Taking them to jail is too strict? You're just going to fine them? Fine. Imagine that couple getting $1,000 fine. Is that? Do you feel like that's fair? Do you feel like that's okay? Do you not feel like that's an injustice? I think that that's clearly an injustice. It's just that, Sharon and myself, we're good citizens. We don't want to get $1,000 fine. So we're going to stay at home because, whatever, we're going to try and avoid that. But if you were to actually take this to a place where it's like implemented, it would be a horrific sight. So how does it make sense?
If we open everything, okay, we open everything, and soon enough, the numbers of sick is tremendous, and hospitals start collapsing. That's a scenario that could happen. Then what? Then what?
First of all, for me, it's reminiscent of climate change. And it's the sense that, like, there's this looming disaster that, like, we must avoid. Then what? What are you going to do? Like, sababa, okay, all that could happen. But in the meantime, we are, like, committing other injustices to try and avoid that. I think that, first of all, we should fight to privatize the healthcare system. But I think that even with a public healthcare system, Israeli society is ingenuitive and adaptive and resilient enough to, like,
But what if
overcome
you,
it.
and if you're wrong?
But that's
But Bibi is going to pay the price.
If you're wrong.
But Bibi is going to pay the price if tens of thousands of people die because the hospitals start collapsing and you can treat heart attacks.
Responsibility he took when he decided to run for president, prime minister.
But
He has to take responsibility.
But he also,
for that.
but he chooses to take responsibility, and
I think that his choices are usurping unalienable rights of.
But most people maybe
citizens.
disagree with you. We'll see in the next election.
That's why I feel kind of lonely in this country. No, really, I think it's. I think we should have more municipal rule.
Although
in
it's
Israel,
changing,
like
I think
more-
many people are starting to think like you. Like I
Yeah.
saw so many posts. People
People are getting fed up. My mom also was kind of like annoyed with me at the beginning for being so, like, against lockdowns and too ideological. But she hasn't seen her granddaughter in, like, I don't know how long. She, my sister had kids. She had her first kid about 2 years ago, and they just had a new baby. They're both so adorable. And my mother, like, is just dying to see them. And she can only see them, so often. She hasn't seen them and she's just thinking, so slowly I think it's trickling through, and people are like, wait a second, who the F are these people to tell me what I can do? And it's true. You assess your own risks. So I think my mom, the way her life would look, right? How would her life look? She would not see friends. She would probably not go out to malls. She would stay home for the most part. Once a week, she would drive down to Jerusalem, or my sisters would drive to my sister and her husband and the kids would come, right? She would see us on weekends. She would keep her interaction with people limited. And that's what happened. That's what would happen, hopefully, is that you have
But
to,
others wouldn't be as careful.
so they would suffer the consequences of their
No,
actions.
we all will suffer.
Because of the hospitals.
Yes.
It always goes back to the hospitals.
Nachon.
But it's not true, because my mom, if she's careful, hopefully has a much lower chance of getting corona. And you're right. If she does, she suffers. But I think that suffering is the cost of living in a society. First of all, it's the cost of making the mistake of having socialized health care. But it's also the cost of living in a society that you take certain risks. It's like saying, I pay for the risks of drunk drivers. So I don't know. Should take anybody who drinks and
But the
lock 'em
numbers
up.
of COVID deaths and drink driving deaths are so different from each other.
Yeah, but I'm saying you take certain risks. Sometimes they're
But
higher,
here it's
sometimes
high.
they're
It's very
lower.
high. It's pretty high.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Well, soon we're not even going to have Netflix here in Israel to,
Yeah,
to
I know,
pass
right?
the COVID by.
so here in Israel, guys, since it's not Hebrew, nobody speaks Hebrew, right? Except for us. So
Yeah.
it's not very profitable to make content in Hebrew, TV shows,
Yeah.
movies. So the way they incentivized creators is by enforcing the TV channels and like the cable networks. They force them to invest in Israeli movies and TV shows as part of their license.
Yeah.
So if you're a cable company, they tell you, you want this license,
Certain
broadcast,
amount of your.
then you got to put
Yeah.
this and this million shekels.
It's like in the basketball league, they have what's called the Russian rule, where like a certain amount of players on the court at all time have to be Israeli.
And now these companies, the cable companies, the channels, they go to the state and say, hey, what the hell is this? We are paying tens and hundreds of millions of shekels because we were forced to. And this Netflix fellows, they are operating here. They earn
Blowing us
money
out of
here.
the water.
And they are not forced to invest. This is not
in
fair.
shitty content.
Yeah, so no, it's not always shitty. That this content brought us Fauda, it brought us.
No, obviously, but was Fauda funded by this?
It's
partly.
yeah, partly.
Partly, yeah.
yeah.
But Fauda's success, okay, there's a ton of other there's a lot of
Yeah.
other content that was funded by this
Yeah.
and failed.
Yeah.
Fauda's success is built on the fact that the creators of Fauda are super creative people who are determined and created it and end up creating it. And now it's funded by Netflix.
But movies, for example, Israeli movies that won so many awards in recent years, blah blah blah, they wouldn't have been made probably.
They'll find funding, and if them not being made is, let me put it this way, not a tragedy. I mean, oh no, like some movie wasn't made.
Yeah.
People are like, but it's the culture, it's the heart of it. It's like shut up. No, it's a movie. Like, so what?
So anyway, our Minister of Communications, what's his name?
Yoaz
Yoaz Hendel. He
was
wants
one of the guys who jumped ship,
to
right?
regulate. Yeah, he wants to regulate Netflix and force them to invest money in Israeli content. Now they invest money in Israeli content. We're gonna have
They invested in Fauda.
yeah. For example,
They bought Fauda.
They bought
yeah.
Fauda, but they also create original content like Devil Next Door, whose creator we're gonna have in a week or two.
Yes.
And so they do it by themselves, and yet the country wants to. So yeah, that's pretty stupid.
It's such a stupid rule. It's so frustrating. But it's so like, I can't, just so many Israelis are probably like, yeah, that's a good idea. And it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating how you can think it's a good idea to force also the chutzpah. I guess it's natural that Israel would do it, right? The chutzpah,
Yeah.
right?
Hey, Netflix, come
Come here.
here.
Come here. Yeah. We're going to need some good Jewish content, okay? We're going to need it in Hebrew and we're going to need it fast.
Yeah.
All right?
Otherwise,
Be a mensch.
we will not let you
Yeah.
into our lucrative
Yes, TV industry. We have
You make
8 million viewers.
you make so much money here.
Yes, so many people.
Yes, you are operating in Russia, Brazil,
Oh god.
but here, this is where you need
Everybody knows the
Yeah,
Israeli
without
viewership
us,
is
y-
like the El Dorado.
Yeah,
of
without us,
TV
you'll have
viewership.
no. So, and then services like Hulu, for example, guys, we don't have Hulu in Israel,
Yeah.
and a service like Hulu now, they got to be crazy to come here.
Yeah. Who's gonna come and be like, "Oh yeah, that sounds like a good investment.
Yeah.
I have to spend certain amount of money creating content in this foreign language for I don't know." Israel doesn't. It has a population of 10 million, but how many of them watch like ratings here, guys, are crazy, right? Like a good TV show is like 1 million people watched it, right?
Not even.
Not even. Like 1 million people is unheard of.
500,000.
Unheard of for 1 million people to watch a
Yeah.
TV show. In the States, you have episodes that get network
Tens of
TV,
millions.
like
Yeah.
close to 20 million
Yeah.
views, and then the long-term viewership is just insane. So it's
Yeah.
like it's nobody's. But what was interesting in that article is that Netflix wanted to bring this guy into a meeting and say, "Look, we're going to invest anyway because."
Yeah.
They know that Israeli creators have
No
the
need
potential.
for violence.
Yeah,
No need-
exactly. You guys don't have to force us. No, but you have to. You have to.
Otherwise,
Yes, you can't. Also, next thing you know, they're going to be like, no, you cannot invest more than 15% in Israeli content. We don't want you investing more than yes and can. You have to invest only 15%. Exactly 15%. It's like, oh, God.
okay.
All right.
Anyway,
Anyway,
you want to wrap things up?
soon.
There's more. You
There
don't want to
is.
eat?
I
Ramen?
do want to eat ramen.
What else
But
is
what
there?
else we got?
No,
That's
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Moving apartments.
Yeah, you found a new apartment.
Yes, that's exciting. Iran's economy is at rock bottom. That's
Yeah.
less exciting. I mean, it's actually it's good for us, bad for them.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about it because of Trump, right? Because Trump is a Nazi, right? But you know who is a Nazi, or it's maybe the closest to Nazis? It's Iran,
Yeah.
and their economy. So I have numbers, I have research, and the numbers say that before Trump's during Obama's nuclear deal, the Iranian rial
Yeah.
was worth 32,000 to $1. Oh,
30
someone wrote
32,000 to $1. Wait, keep going. I'll find the comments. Yeah. 32,000 to $1.
and now after Trump's when Trump went out of the deal, right? Now
Yeah.
it's 300,000 for $1. So times 10
10.
worse.
Wow.
Okay? So he
Wow.
crippled the Iranian economy, thus doing a huge
Service to the
service
world.
to the world. So and his Hitler. Okay,
Yeah.
guys. Yeah.
Also,
So that's
he
interesting
took out
statistic.
one of the lead commanders of military
Yeah.
commanders in
Qasem
Iran.
Soleimani. What are people writing?
What a Nazi! What a Nazi! I don't know how to find
So
the.
Shylock says, strongly recommend niguri noodles over ramen.
That's what you got out of this, man. This whole hour episode. I'm actually so hungry right now. We need to wrap things up. It's sitting right there. The Tom Tom ramen. I need
Yeah.
some. I need some Tom Tom
Okay,
ramen
you
and
need some.
PlayStation.
And also, Denoda says there is no way to prevent the spread absolutely until there is a vaccine, and the developer of the vaccine has an incentive to keep improving the vac until more are infected. What? Okay.
Conspiracies.
So,
Yes.
let's go eat ramen. Guys, we are sponsored by The Forward.
Yes.
Check them out. Forward.com/2njb for an exclusive
Subscription.
subscription price. Check them out.
Yes, you get 67% off, guys. You
Yeah.
get 6 months for $10.
Yes. Also subscribe to their newsletter
Yes.
to stay up to date and check them out. Highly recommended. Also,
Forward.com.
IsraelNationalNews.com.
Yes,
Arutz
yes.
Sheva. Highly recommended. Website, Facebook page. Check them out. And last but not least, the Australian Jewish News, ajn.timesofisrael.com. Check them out for Australian angle on the Jewish world.
And of course, we do this on
Yes.
our free time. So if you guys want to help us out, go to 2njb.com/donate
Yes.
and throw us a few checks.
And also, guys, subscribe to our YouTube channel because
Yes.
this is, if you're listening to this on your podcasting app, then you should know that this was broadcasted live on YouTube exclusively. So
Yes.
if you haven't subscribed, you're losing.
You're missing out.
You're missing
also, we
out.
are most of our episodes go up onto YouTube, so check them out. You can find us on all the major channels.
Yes, Philip Freund says thanks, y'all,
Thank you, Philip.
for being the only.
Thank you,
Thank
Philip.
you for being the only person who watched this.
All right,
Okay.
guys.
Bye for now.
Take it easy.